Hello everyone. How's everybody doing today? Today is Thursday, May 23rd, I believe. And while I give you guys a moment to hop on, I am just going to pull up the live on my end here. I better turn the volume all the way down so that you guys don't hear two of me here. And then I can follow along with your comments. All right, so I will give this, I have to tape this back down so it doesn't slide all over the place on me. If you are there, say hello so that I know everything is working on your end. And hi, Ramona, how are you? We are just a few minutes late getting Lennon ready to head out the door to his musical. We are going to go watch him tonight, so I had to get his makeup on for him again. Hi, Linda. How are you? And for those of you who may not know, Lennon is our younger son. He is playing Davy in Newsies the Musical. From starting, well, they did a matinee Tuesday, and then they started yesterday, and they go through until Saturday. So we're excited to go see him a couple of times. So tonight will be our first night seeing the show. So that's why I'm coming early, and was a few minutes late because we had to finish up his makeup before I could hop on here and get them out the door. Well, they aren't out the door just yet, but they will be heading out in a few minutes. All right, so this is the card I'm going to make for you guys today. It is a little gift card holder. So it's not a, so we don't have a folding card base, but the fold is on this little flap on the front. So that is where the folding mechanism is, and then you can fit a little gift card in this pocket here. So it'll be a little thank you gift card holder. First though, I have some new product. Do you guys want to see it? It is the Winterly Treetops Suite that we were able to order. Hi, Denise. That we were able to order so that we would have it for an event called Creativity Now. That event is exclusively, well, the event is for demonstrators, but I believe the product should be becoming available to all of you. So it arrived today, so I thought I would show you guys that before we get into the card. And if you would like to share the video, please do. My name is Alana Worf, Sleepless Stamper. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. And we are in the middle of a week of doing a little latte projects. Now, I will grab my projects from, well, I have the first one. This is the first one. And then I actually don't have yesterday's handy. Maybe it'll turn up while we're on here, but this is the one we started with. This was a case of a previous card that I did, and I actually do have yesterday's handy. This was yesterday's. So these are the 3 cards we have done so far. If you wish to participate in my offering to get these card kits, you can choose to use this host code and place an order online. $65 or more will get you one of each card kit. So these 3, and then the one that I'll make tomorrow as well. If you are participating in that and you share the video, then you will also get entered to win a package of the swirl dot embellishments that are from the suite. Bye, Lennon. Good luck. All right. So first of all, I'm going to share this paper. What do you guys think of this? I haven't even sliced it open yet. All right. So we're going to cut this open. And I like to just cut it along the top with my paper snips. And then I have a nice clean opening that I can just tuck everything back in. So let's see this. It's too bad this hadn't showed up before our team meeting yesterday so that I could show you guys on the meeting. But I love these. It reminds me, I can't remember what that bird paper is. It went with that, I think, Free as a Bird stamp set. But this kind of reminds me of those birds. I'm sure you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Hi, Melissa. And then there's this one. I think it's so, so cute. I love those stripes. I'm trying to balance them beside me and not have them. Okay, this is the sheet in particular that reminds me of that other DSP from a few years ago. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about? I love this one on the back. This is the product that makes it so hard to not stray from the A Little Latte. I love the A Little Latte as well, but when something shiny and new comes, I just want to play with it. Flight and Airy, no, that was the Celebration one. There was one a few years ago. Then there's this one here with these nice Bird Ballad. Yes. I can't remember if that's what the paper was called. The embellishments were called Bird Ballad, but the paper that went with that suite. Then there's this one here, and look at the tiny little birds. What do you guys think of this paper so far? And then we have two more patterns. Ooh, look at this one. This is one of those ones where it's really nice to cut down the middle, and then you can get like 3 card fronts from each half. I love that. And then a nice neutral on the back with the little footprints. Super cute. And then we have one more. Looks like Pussy Willows. Are those all the same, or they just start off looking the same? Now this one, the back ends, look at that. They look very similar on the end, but they're actually, this one, the Pussy Willow, goes the whole, sorry, I sneezed there. The whole pattern or the whole sheet. Yeah, they're beautiful. And then we have this nice wood grain. So that is the DSP. And I will show you guys colored linen thread. Oh my gosh, I did actually pull this out of the package. I had to unwind this to see if it was nice and thin like our linen thread. And look at that. If we could only have so many more colors in this. Is it available now? It is not yet. It's available now if you registered for Creativity Now. You can get it throughout this month. But to everyone, no, it's not available yet. But look at this blue or Night of Navy linen thread. Hi Sherry. Just love these linen threads. These are going to get a lot of use, and I sure wish that we could buy these individually. If we could have bought the DSP and the linen thread not as part of the suite, I would have bought extra of this stuff here. Those are going to be my favorite, I can tell. I'm sure you guys know I'm a little bit addicted to linen thread, so no surprise that I would love these, and in 2 of my favorite colors, blue and green. Love those. Now, there is also the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. I didn't realize it was one of these huge ones, so that's kind of fun. And then we have these gems. I hope you guys don't mind me showing you fun new product instead of hopping right into the card. There we go. So we have the gems that match the thread. It's too bad we don't have some of these in navy, but these ones are pretty too, so that's fine. Then we also have Winterly Treetops stamp set. These birds also, I feel like this has to be by the same artist. I don't know who the artist of this one was, but in my thinking, maybe it's the same. And then we have these dies, and I love this frame. I wanted this suite pretty much because of this frame alone and the linen thread. Well, and the DSP, that's just all of it was pretty. So anyhow, we have these dies that go with. So you definitely have ones that coordinate with images, but this nice background could be used with anything really. And I feel like it doesn't have to be just Christmassy. This one is, you could use this with like lake or cabin type photos or cards. So definitely a versatile one in that background one. Then I have one more thing to show you guys. This is actually in the annual catalog. I completely overlooked it until the other day. I will have to remember what page that it's on. If any of you know, once I show it to you, please feel free to chime in. But I did not realize until, well, just 2 days ago when I added this to my expedited order, that we have wood textured specialty paper. Sorry for the noisy packaging here for a minute, but did you guys notice this 12 by 12 embossed, like it's textured, this embossed paper that is a wood grain pattern? I'm just trying to catch a light. There we go. Can you guys see that pattern in there, the texture? I love this. I think it's super fun. So I think this would actually go well with this. I was very tempted to use it on my coffee card today, but I decided to stick to the suite because yesterday I strayed a bit from the color palette of the sweet. So I thought, well, for today, I better keep it close or keep it within the same color palette. So this is the one I'm going to make for you guys today. If you have any comments on the Winterly Treetop Sweet, please feel free to say so. And I'm going to show you guys, I feel like I need to add an early espresso strip behind this piece this time. So we'll see if I add that in or not. Okay, so because it's not a folding base, I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, hi Cindy, crumb cake card layer. And then this one here is, I just have to recall my measurement. It is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. This early espresso layer scored at 2 3/4. And then I am going to cut the DSP with you guys. So 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, so we are going to use this pattern here. We have this pattern here and this pattern here. So I went with some fairly neutral ones out of the pack, and I will give you guys the measurements. So this one here is it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I wanted a little bit more of a reveal than just the 4 by 5 1/4 gives. This one here, I'll measure that for you, and then I'll cut them on screen here for you guys too, is 3 1/2, I want to say by 2 1/2. Yep. So that one's 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. And then this one is going to be a little bit bigger because I need to cut the pocket. So I'll show you guys these dies here as well. This one is 3 1/2 wide by 4. So we need a little bit bigger one for the pocket. And then this one here is 1, and you could do it by 5 1/2, or you could do like I have shown you other times where you just cut a little portion. Now this time I'm actually just going to grab an extra layer and I am going to put a border behind, sorry, just digging in my scrap drawer, and I want to see if this is not quite big enough. I'm going to see if we have a piece here that is wide enough. One of these should do. There we go. So this one I can cut down. All right, so now this one, I will add an early espresso layer. This one's going to be 1 1/8 by 5 1/2. And I will layer this pattern paper on top of this and just see how that one turns out on our sample that I'm making with you guys now. So we have the DSP here. I gave you the measurement for that one, for this one, and for this one here. So we're gonna get those cut first. And for that, I'm gonna bring in just my little cutter here. Now I had something I wanted to show you guys with this little cutter. So I'm just gonna grab my other one sec. Okay, so I have been at various events where customers, demonstrators have noticed that they're cutting the measurement surface on their cutter is like this. So it looks like the finish is coming off. Can you guys see that? Where it looks rather sad. But so many of us were surprised that's not actually damaged. It comes with a protective film. So that is meant to come off. So when we get this thing, we're actually supposed to peel those off, but many people don't know until it starts lifting. So you can actually just peel that off, and now it's good as brand new. So has that happened to any of you guys? Let me know. It is surprising just how often that has been an occurrence. All right, so let's get all of these layers cut. I'm going to start with this simple one here. I'll keep the card in place here. I'm gonna have to get another piece of tape to tack that down. It's not going to play nice today. Hi, Ruby. Ryan took the dog with him when he dropped Lennon off, so she is just getting back in. All right, so I am going to cut this. I may as well just finish the rest of this strip. I will just take the whole thing off. So now I'm done with this one. And then, yeah, I need a piece of tape. This thing is not playing nice. Doesn't want to stay still today. I decided I would use my regular mat instead of my glass mat today. And it's not behaving. All right, so now I'm going to cut this at 5.5. Now, I'm going to show you something. This end here doesn't really have a lot of the pattern. This one has a little bit more. So I'm actually going to just cut myself a new end where there is a lot of pattern. You knew when you noticed the film? Yeah, it's, hi Michelle, pretty obnoxious when it is peeling like that. All right, okay, so now we have this here, so 1 by 5.5. Now I'm gonna cut this one here at 1 1/8 by 5.5. I just want a really thin border, but I want to try it with a little bit of a border as opposed to nothing like this one here has. So we have that. Put this one aside. And I need to cut this at, well, it's already 5.5, so we're good to go with that. Okay, this is for my greeting. And let's just see if this will peel off behind here. This piece of tape. We'll see if I can get this one to stay. Sorry, everyone. There, we'll give that a burnish and see if that will hold. All right, so now we are going to move into this one. Bring my cutter back in now that I've taped that down. So this one here is the one I'm going to die cut my pocket with. This one is, just recap that, 3.5 by 4. All right, so I'm going to cut this one at 3.5. Let's see if I have enough to do 4. I'll actually just cut this at 4. We're gonna go with a clean edge here. There we go. So I have 4. Hey, Angela. So that is 4 long, and I need to cut at 3.5. So this end here to 3.5. Okay, now this will be the same size as this. This will allow me to die cut that little pocket. Now I also need this layer for the front, which is 2.5 by 3.5, and I should just confirm that measurement. I would rather measure twice than once and have to cut a second time. That's no fun. So 2.5 by 3.5. And I can save this to use for something else. So I am going to just go into the 2.5 mark, because then that way I can conserve as much of the rest of my paper as possible. So I am going to bring this down to the 3.5 mark, and then I can turn this and go to 3.5. This is where I cut it here. So I have this end at 3.5, and there we go, down to 2.5. Now that has cut my 2.5 by 3.5 piece. So that's all I need out of this one. All right, now one more. This one here is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So here I am going to just cut this whole strip off at 3 7/8, and then I'll have a little piece in between left over. There we go. So now I have all this, and we're going to go to 5 1/8. I often use my big cutter. I don't often use this one, but sometimes when I am doing DSP, I will use this one so that I can try to conserve as much as possible. So I'm going with this side here. I wanted some neutrals for this one. All right, now let's review. Let's make sure that this is, yeah, this is the wrong one. This should be, You know what? I might have cut this one a little too. Oh, here we go. It's right here. Getting things all mixed up. This one here is 1 1/8 by 5 1/2, the early espresso. Hey, Ashley, that goes behind this pattern. And the pattern is 1 by 5 1/2. We have this pattern here that is 3 1/8 by 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So that's going to go like this. This is going to go like this on there. This piece here is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, scored at 2 3/4. We have this layer for the front that is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. I have this layer here that is going to go on the inside, but first I need to die cut the pocket, so I'm going to show you guys those dies. And then I have a scrap of espresso for the greeting, and I have some crumb cake to stamp the little coffee beans and the coffee cup. So I'm going to show you guys the dies that I made the pocket with. Have any of you noticed in the annual catalog, we have these Pocket Thoughts dies. These ones have 3 different sizes of pockets. We were actually given these in our artisan box, and my plan is to use at least one of them on a scrapbooking page. But I decided I would use this small one. So I was telling you guys the other day that I had an idea for one of the upcoming cards, and that was to use these pockets to make a gift card pocket. So I've gone with the middle one, and this will fit on here so that I can make this little pocket for the inside of the card. So I am going to just run this through my stamp cut and emboss machine. I will move these over a second, and I will bring that in here. So for this, you need to, you know what, I don't know if this would fit in the mini one, but we're going to just use the big one. So you use your large platform number 2, a cutting pad. This one is broken, but that's okay. It's fine for this. And I can place this on one side. So I'm going to just avoid that little crack. And I'm placing this on one side of it. And then this can just run right through. It's a little noisy. Sorry for the camera shake. There we go. I love these little pocket dies. I think that those are super fun. So now we have that. I'm going to move this aside here. Does anyone have these yet? Pocket Thoughts dies. Bring this all back in. There we are. I'll actually move these card parts aside for now, and I will do some stamping here for you guys. So with this one here, I actually stamped this on crumb cake. So I have from the stamp set, now I haven't shown this to you guys yet today, so if anybody's just tuning in today and hasn't seen this in previous days, this is the Latte Love stamp set, and then you get all of these dies if you get the bundle. So I'm going to end up using the mug die, the little coffee beans die, and that is actually it on this card. I also have this little greeting die from the Happy Little Things bundle, so I'm going to use that as well. All right, so I have set it down somewhere, my memento. I set it aside with my cutter. I have memento ink that I am going to stamp the outline of the cup with. So that's going to go there. Thanks, Kathy. And then I am actually going to put this aside. Next, what I'm going to do is color the inside of the coffee cup with, show you which blends that is. It is the SU 100. So I'm going to color this in first. And just go around the inside edge. This does not need to be a perfect coloring job because it is mostly going to be covered. So I'm not doing any fancy blending. I am just filling this in. So I am being cautious not to squash the tip of my blend. We all probably are familiar with trying to preserve those. So that is now the inside of my cup. I'm going to just bring in this one here. I kind of wanted the look of this without, so I wanted to be able to show you guys sort of how to recreate this even when you've run out of your DSP. So, I mean, it's not quite as bold as that, but similar in colors. So I've colored that in. Now I'm going to give this just a second. It's alcohol marker, so it should be dry pretty quickly. But even so, I will quickly, this is what happens when I half put things away in between. I actually don't mind how that colored in, you guys. And of course, I'm going to go cover it right up. All right, now I am going to, I have white embossing powder, Versamark. I am going to ink up this, here, the heart filler, this one here. So I'm going to ink that up with Versamark. Sorry, you got a little bit of camera shake there. And I am going to, now on my card, I have the little handle facing down. So I just want to be mindful of that when I am stamping my heart so that it's roughly in the same direction. There we go. I also kind of like just how it looks on its own when you get the tone on tone. It's kind of cute, but all right, now I have white powder. And I should have grabbed a scrap sheet for that, but I didn't. So I'm gonna just put that onto there. Now there is a little bit, you would think Memento would dry super fast, but just as when I was making my sample, a little bit of the powder clung to the outline. So I wanted to be sure to brush that off first. My fine tipped paintbrush, I have a finer one than this, but I obviously put it somewhere else in between. So I am just brushing off any white powder from the outline of the coffee cup before I heat set this. I don't want those to be stuck to the image once I've heat set it. All right, so now we can put these things aside. Sure, you've got to bear with me while I put the powder and the Versamark away. You know what happens when we don't do that. All right, so now we can heat set this. I love how it goes from powdery to glossy with embossing powder. There's such satisfaction in that. And if you're new to embossing, that is how you will know when your powder has nicely melted, when it goes from powdery to glossy. Okay, now I have Lost Lagoon blends. And I'll move this one aside, bring this back in. So I have used my Lost Lagoon on the crumb cake to color this in. I could have gone with white, but I actually just wanted something more in the tones of the rest of my card. So I decided to color this on crumb cake instead of white. And I wanted it to kind of look more like earthy or more like pottery. So I don't know if it gives that effect, but that was kind of my thinking, as opposed to going with white. So I'm going to just fill in the outline of the cup with the light Lost Lagoon. Again, no fancy shading here. This is just some pretty basic coloring. Okay, so I just filled that all in with the light Lost Lagoon, and then I'm just gonna follow the artist's detail markings for us, and I'm gonna put some dark Lost Lagoon on all of these little lines where they're kind of telling us where to put the shading. So just a little bit there. So when you're in a hurry or you need to make a few of the same thing and you don't have time or aren't up for a lot of shading, or you're just not confident with it yet, don't be afraid to just use those lines and not do more than that. There we go. So that is the coloring. Now I need to die cut this. So I did put that die back on my sheet So I'm gonna get this one ready, but first I want to stamp these little coffee beans. I'll bring this closer again so you can see. I put a little cluster of coffee beans here and a little cluster there. I wanted to use a little bit more of the images from the stamp set and add just a little bit of detail to the front. So I am just stamping these with Early Espresso. That one's a little smudged, so I'll redo that one. And I am not coloring them, but you could, if you wanted to, add some more detail. You could always color those. I just decided to keep it simple and not color them. So I'm actually going to cut these out first. I probably could have just put this right in the cutting machine, but I'm going to bring the mini machine in and run those through. So I decided I would just snip those down. Now, I probably don't have the mini machine in here, so 1 second again. I keep having you guys hold on. Sorry about that. I think that this would be pretty if it was stamped on white, but also with a little bit of Pretty Peacock in there. I'm gonna leave it, but that I thought would be cute. All right, so we're gonna tape this guy down. And what I should have done is stamp the greeting first, but I'm gonna do that after. So you'll have to bear with me moving the cutting machine out of the way, stamping and bringing it back in. Okay, so that is the cup. I love this little mini machine for little things like this, especially if I'm trying to show you guys something. It's a lot easier than the big machine, though the big machine certainly has its place. All right, so there's the cup. Now, move this out of the way. Keep that piece of tape. Now this one is for the little coffee beans. I'm gonna have to do something with the percolator and silver foil for you guys. I know we were talking about this yesterday. Who has this suite? Now, unfortunately, we only get one of these little dies. Sometimes they give us two of the little detail dies, but this time we just have one. And Linda, you have sent me some really cute cards with this bundle, so I'm gonna have to get them and have them handy to show them to everybody tomorrow so that you guys can see all of Linda's fabulous cards. So there is one set of the little coffee beans. I love the smell of coffee beans, especially flavored ones. I don't always love all the different flavors. When I was younger and working in the mall, there was a little shop that had Bavarian Dutch chocolate coffee. Oh, I loved that coffee. I think that was probably my first experience with flavored coffee. Probably one of the only few that I ever liked, actually. But whenever that shop would have that coffee as their flavor of the day, all of us, I worked in Shoppers Optical, so I was in an eyeglasses dispensary. And whenever they had that flavor, we would all go down there. Didn't always wait for our breaks either. We would take turns when it was quiet and run down, or somebody would do a coffee run and go get one for everyone. We loved that flavor. So good. All right, so we have our little cup. I'm actually gonna clean this up. I went a little too far to one side. So the nice thing is, it's a pretty generic shape. You can just trim a little bit more off, which is what I had to do when I made my very first card with this too. There we go. So that's all tidied up. Now I have my little scrap, and I am using this Thanks So Much. Yesterday on this card here, whoopsie, I used Let's Catch Up from Hello There, Let's Catch Up. So I masked off the hello there so I could use just Let's Catch Up. But today I decided to go with the full greeting. So I'm going to use Thanks So Much. I was going to fussy cut the greeting, and then I realized that it fits really nicely on this little die from Happy Little Things. So I decided to go with that instead. So I'm going to ink this one up with Versamark. The pad as opposed to the lid would be helpful. So I'm going to use that. And what I did first, if you've never seen that before, when I put this over top, that is an embossing buddy, and it just has powder in it that helps eliminate the static in your paper so that your powder doesn't cling all over the place. It's a godsend. If you don't have one, I recommend the embossing, I think it's Embossing Editions Toolkit is what it's called, I think. They gave us one in our artisan box. I have one, but we are working our way back to in-person classes, so a second one will always be useful. All right, so now I can just heat set that. I should have my Embossing Editions Toolkit instead of a piece of paper, right? Hi, Shauna, and everyone else who is here. All right, so we're gonna heat set this one. I like to get the stamping done first, and then I can just work on assembly. It's kind of like a mini assembly line, just of my own. And then just like we did on the cup, you can see when that went from powdery to glossy. So now I know it's all set and I can die cut this. Now I have offset it a little bit to the right. I wanted to be able to tuck part of it under the cup instead of having any of this little greeting overlap the cup. I didn't want to hide this. So I purposely offset this just a little bit. See, it's off-centered a little bit to the right. And we'll get that taped on. This is just Post-it tape. And I'm gonna bring in that little Stamp Cut and Emboss machine again. Just move this guy over. Oopsie, I'll have to double check that now that it flipped upside down. There, we're good. I use these little greeting die cuts a lot. Even if you don't have the Happy Little Things stamp set, the dies are amazing, you guys. I will show you, I think I have the other one right here as well. So I feel like in Canada it's $16.50. I might be wrong, but it's somewhere in around there. And you get these two dies. So they are super versatile. I use these with all kinds. They don't leave my little magnetic tray. They just stay in there all the time. They don't even make it back into the case because they are so frequently used. All right. So I think we have all of the stamping done. I thought I lost one of those for a second. Now we will get busy on these layers. So first of all, this is, if you're just tuning in, that little pocket was cut with these Pocket Thoughts dies. I used the middle one. I will post the replay so you'll be able to follow the measurements if you need them. So I'm going to just, you can see these little score lines that the die makes on the DSP. I am just gently folding these. I don't want to burnish these too much with a bone folder or at all because it could tear through the DSP. So I am just gently folding those, and I'm going to put tear and tape on the back of them. So on this side here, so I want to have those ready. I could have gone a little longer there. So if you weren't here at the beginning, yes, Linda, you made beautiful cards with it. You always make beautiful cards. I love getting surprise mail from you. If you were not here at the beginning, I was just going to ask again, if you are watching, do you have this bundle? There we go. So I have gotten the back of that ready. Now I can work on assembling some of the rest of the layers. All right, I have my, this is the trouble when I go and hide things. I had my, there it is, right in front of my face, Stamp and Seal. I'm going to slide the parts I'm assembling this way, and we will do one at a time here. All right, so this one here, I am going to attach to the card base. If you're just tuning in, this is not a folding card base. The folding mechanism is in the pocket. So I am just attaching this straight to a single layer of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or if you're in a different market, you could just adjust the sizing to whatever your standard card size is in your market. Now I'm going to adhere this 1 by 5 1/2 strip of DSP to this strip of Early Espresso. My sample does not have the Early Espresso, but I decided I wanted to add it for this one. this will, I probably could have used Tombow for this, but that's okay. So this is going to go end to end with a little bit of a border on either side. There we go. So just like that. Now I'm going to gauge from my other card here where to place that. So I'm actually going to Tombow glue that one down. I want to make sure that layer of cardstock is adhered really well. Sometimes I don't love how tape runner holds cardstock down, so I tend to use, in my mind, what is a stronger adhesive. Okay. Hi Cindy, how are you? There we go. So now that is attached there. Now with our little folding mechanism, I am going to attach some of the layers first. So this one here is going to go on the front, and I can just go ahead with stamp and seal on there. That's just centered. Now I'm going to use tear and tape again to attach this folding layer to the card front. Whenever there's a folding mechanism, I like to make sure that it is adhered really well. That's just my preference, but again, if you like to use Tombow or whatever else, that is totally fine. There we go. Get all these backings off. I don't often make a card that doesn't have a folding base, but decided to do that. Okay, so I've peeled those off. The folding mechanism is at the top, and this is just going to be centered. I'm trying to not stick my head in your view here. There we go. So hopefully centered. There we go. Now, with this little pocket, I have a little trick for you. So I am going to just peel this one here. So the short flap, I'm going to peel that backing only. And then that way I can hold the pocket and these won't accidentally grab before I'm ready. So now I can just hold this, center this here, and stick just that side, just this side where that one end is. Okay, so now that's holding it place. Now I can open this up, peel these off, and then just fold this down, and the whole thing will be straight without fighting with 3 sides of exposed tape all at once. So when there is a way to do this, that's my preference. Whoopsie. That's just the backing. It's tricky sometimes to get the backings off. Get my paper piercer in a second. There we go. All right, so those are now exposed. So now I can just take this and fold that down. There we go. So the inside pocket is ready, and you can just tuck a gift card in there. So if you need a little thank you gift and whoever you need to give it to loves coffee, you are set. You could even just do the little pocket. You could skip the whole front layer and just give a little gift card pocket if you wanted to. That would definitely suffice, I think. All right, so now we're going to bring these in. The only trouble is this doesn't like to stay shut while I'm trying to show you guys all of this, but that's okay. So now I have my black mini dimensionals. I'm going to get this here ready. So I put 3 on there, not all the way to the edge because it overlaps a little bit. So get these backings off. I will keep this host code open till Sunday. So if you would like to get in on these card kits, then if you place a $65, you know what, before I stick this down, I need to just do a quick dry fit and make sure that my little coffee cup is going to fit. So I'm going to tuck that in right there. There we go. I just didn't want to go too high or too low and then have it interfere with the little handle. All right, so if you are interested in receiving the card kits for these cards that I have been making this week, you can place a $65 order online on my website with this code, and I'll close the code on Sunday, and then you just have to message me Latte Love or a little latte and that you've placed your order, and then I will know that you have placed that to qualify for these card kits. So we started with this one. Yesterday we made this one. That one's going to be a lot of die cutting done with love. And then this one here. I can't do any of the stamping for you. So if you already have the stamp set, of course you can just follow along and make them. You don't have to place an order if you want to prep your own kits and just be inspired by watching. But if you'd like the kits sent to you, then you can either order the stamp set or if you already have it, then that is great too. You can just do the $65 purchase and I will send you those if you message me that that is your request. All right, so I'm going to glue dot these little coffee beans in place, just right on either side of the coffee cup. I just love that coffee cup. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's so cute. That's my favorite view, the top view. I have to practice with coloring the side view of the cup. And there is a little die I want to show you guys. I didn't want to go to the trouble of adding in any filler into the mugs on yesterday's card, but you could. So I'll bring yesterday's card in and I'll show you what I believe is the die for the filler. So these just have little glue dots on them, and then I can just reach in and tuck that in there. So there we go. We have our little coffee beans. And now I just need to add embellishments and a linen thread bow. So before I do that, I want to show you guys this here, I believe, is the little filler for this coffee cup here. But I wanted this to be generic. I didn't want this to be specific to coffee or tea. I wanted it to just be, you know, let's catch up, go for your favorite drink, and you could give that card. So I purposely didn't fill it, but I believe that that's what these ones are for, is to just, you could die cut a bunch of them in early espresso or pecan pie if you're a tea drinker, or you put lots of milk in your coffee. I like milk in my coffee. How about you guys? There's another question for you. Are you a black coffee drinker or do you drink it with milk? I put almond milk in mine. I do not love it black. Ryan drinks his black. And sometimes I actually like cinnamon in coffee too. The boys love putting flavored creamer in theirs, and for a while they had me hooked on that and I had to stop. It was too much extra sugar. So I stopped, but it sure was tasty. All right, so a linen thread bow. Thanks, Ramona. I love like French vanilla flavored things. I can't remember what one of the creamers that Lennon got was, but Ethan has gotten the After 8 one, and I don't mind it. It's not like super minty, it's just a little hint, but I'm trying to not, well, I haven't been having it. I'll just take like a little sip of his. He'll let me steal a sip. All right, so now I need my different glue dots. I don't know where I stuck those. I had them because, there we go. All right, so these are the adhesive backed swirl dots. And the other day I told you guys that it was the gems that were sold out. It was actually the DSP. So the gems were actually available. I don't know what's available today. I actually did not check today. I had an appointment that took almost, like it was this morning, and I didn't get home till almost 2. So, and it was like earlier this morning, but anyway. So I didn't have a chance to check today, but they'll come back if they're not available. So then I just put an extra one up here. And now I will attach my little linen thread bow. I always feel like I'm saying Lennon when I say linen thread. But so the card that I did for you guys last week, where I cased one of my swap cards, I did that with mystery stamping last night with my team. And I find that that layout is such a great layout for so many different DSPs and different types of greetings. And I feel like this one would be too. I feel like you could switch out the DSP and the stamp set, and you could make so many different themes of cards with this layout, with the little gift card pocket, whether it's for a birthday. I feel like I should make a birthday one, but you could totally switch this out. And again, also, if you wanted to skip the base layer, I think this would make a super cute little gift card pocket all on its own. So maybe I'll have to make another one of just the folding pocket and skip the card base. So what do you guys think? Do you prefer the early espresso layer? I do. I feel like it helps this little layer pop a little bit more. It's not quite so lost in the background. So that's my preference, but what do you guys think? And then do you see yourself trying this one? I hope you guys will. All right, so that is everything for today. We will have to get ourselves ready to head over to Lennon's musical. I will be back tomorrow. So once we get the day sorted out, I've got to get him ready again tomorrow for his musical. So once we are finished with that tonight, I will hopefully be able to choose what time I will come to you guys tomorrow, whether it will be daytime or in the evening. I don't think we're going to watch tomorrow, but we will sort that out, and then I can update you guys to let you know what time I will come and do the last a little latte or latte love card for you guys. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Real quick, if you guys are interested in doing the Take to the Sky Suite cards, you can still get in on that. I'm going to have to post when the deadline will be. And then you can also still register for the ephemera cards class as well. So I'll get that information posted hopefully tonight so that you guys will know when the deadline for both of those are. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Good night.